Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to give you a slow walkthrough tour of all the plants here in the Hartley. We recently just packed up the Christmas tree and got that out. We've done a little bit of cleaning. There's still quite a lot of plants that need to be repotted, and then I want to do a little shifting, possibly bring our bigger citrus trees in here, but we thought we would come in here and do the tour before I get after that project. Now it's 19 degrees outside right now, but it is hot in here. In fact, we just turned off the heaters. We usually keep the mini split, which is on this back wall. We keep that running at about 65 or so, and then we run a little heater on the floor over here. Sorry, Erin, back and forth. We run a little heater right here in the evenings because last night it was 0. Tonight it's supposed to be 0, I think again, right, or 1 degree, and it keeps everything nice and cozy in here. The mini split, I think if we did not have this, it would have to work tremendously hard to try to get heat over to this side of the greenhouse. This is 26 feet long and 12 feet wide, so this is very, very helpful. And I have this one set, last night I set it up to 75. So anyway, I guess let's just start right here with our geraniums. These are one of the proven winners varieties of geraniums, I think boldly red or boldly scarlet. Is that a thing? I can't remember, but we potted these up last summer and brought them in here, and this is where they've stayed since their repot. They went through a little bit of a period, like a kind of a gangly period where they were dropping leaves, and they're starting to flush back. Like if you come in here, you can, whoop, I just snagged one almost. You can see just all kinds of new buds, there's new leaves coming out. And even when they were looking kind of their worst, like this one not looking so great, it's all fine when they're all smashed together in a big group, but even when they were looking like this, they were still blooming. So I'm just really happy with that. And it's been such a bright, beautiful spot in here, especially around Christmas time to see all that red. And then these right here are the Maverick white geraniums that we started from seed not that long ago. I want to say it's maybe been about 9 weeks at this point. And I added some flower tone fertilizer in with the soil, and it's just a slow feed organic fertilizer, and they've just been doing beautifully. I have not used any liquid fertilizer on these because I don't think I need to at this point. They just look so darn healthy. Right here, this is a recent repot. This is a ficus Klingon. It's Klingon Over the Edge. It's one of the Proven Winners Leaf Joy collection, and I love it. And they sent me, so I bought this one at the garden center and potted it up as a hostess gift for a Christmas party we were going to. And then Proven Winners sent me out a second one. It was perfect, and I liked this one so much that I ended up repotting the other one into a pot that I actually thought that the people's house that we were going to would like a little bit better. Anyway, I'm thankful to have this one sitting right here. Down below here, we have an arrowhead vine, and it's just been sitting here. It struggled with spider mites this summer, and I sprayed it with Captain Jack's, and I actually took it outside to spray. If I've got any plant struggling with any kind of bug in here, I don't treat it inside the building. I take it outside because I don't want to spray in here. And it really it's shot out a couple of longer stems right here, and it's looking really nice and healthy. I inspected it this morning, actually. I went through and kind of looked at everything, and I don't see any damage, no bugs at all, no webbing. So I'm super thankful for that. I think I must have caught the problem right when it started, because usually if you let spider mites go even a little bit, they'll infect the whole of all the plants in here. So I'm really quite fussy about that in here because I do not want to deal with that problem in the Hartley. Right here we have a Eugenia, which Erin and I picked up 2 of these. There's one on the other side. You can see I still need to repot those. I was getting ready to do that project, and then we got a bunch of snow, so all of the pots are under a bunch of snow, and I don't really want to go digging around in that. So we'll wait till it melts off, which I think it's going to next week, or it'll start to melt off, and then we can pick out a couple of beautiful pots. But this is kind of what I had envisioned for them anyway, just flanking this little opening right here. I think there's the sweetest looking Topiaries. These I think are hardy. They're like a zone 8, maybe. I don't think they're winter hardy. Is it to 7? Which, I mean, we haven't dropped below 0 technically. Our forecast there for a while was saying -5, -6 for our lows. And I thought, well, there you go. We're not a zone 7, but technically we haven't dropped below 0, so they might do it outside. I don't trust it, so they're gonna stay in here. And they can go out in the summertime. I got a couple of myrtle topiaries I picked up at the grocery store. I saw them, and I've got another one, which you can see it right over here. And this one has been in here for over a year now. And it's done so beautifully that I thought, oh, if I could get those two when they're smaller and have them fill out like this, I really love it. And I've always heard about how fussy myrtle plants are, but I'm in here so often, they get water like every other day at the minimum. I still don't have any saucers under these, but thankfully, and maybe I should check. No, we don't have any mess. Down at the garden center, they just got these like cork mats that you can put under pots. I think I'm gonna go that route since these kind of hang over the edge. I don't want an even bigger saucer hanging over. So I'm gonna pick up a couple of those, and they have them in a dark brown color, so I don't even think you'll really notice it. Right here, I had a bunch of Lonicera Topiaries in this really cute stand, which Gardener Supply sent out to us years ago. I don't even know that they still carry it. We moved those into the greenhouse because they were dealing with a lot of leaf drop in here, and they would go through seasons of that. Like they would flush out new leaves and then drop a bunch of leaves and then flush out new leaves and drop a bunch. It's a project that I might abandon. I might plant them out and see what happens and just let them do their natural thing. I don't know that they're suited to be a topiary. Anyway, those moved to the greenhouse, and I moved a few other things because, you know, we recently potted these up. This is a green princess philodendron. All three of these are part of the Leaf Joy collection. I love this plant. I think it's just so gorgeous and full. I mean, this one in particular, the shape of it is just so, so nice. And then this is a Klingon Anastasia ficus right here. So the over the edge has more white variegation, and this one has chartreuse variegation in it. Really, really pretty. And then we have a ficus. This is a Shiveriana Moonshine, I think. I should probably read the tag. Did I read that right? Shiverana Moonshine. And it's got really interesting variegation on it. It's very irregular. I like the pink stem, or the pink nut stem. You know what I'm talking about. This thing right here. I just think that's a really interesting looking plant. And I think they're gonna all really love to be right here. You can see they're kind of getting filtered light. They get a little bit of shade from these parts of the door. Down below, we have a staghorn fern that needs a repot. These do really well in here, though. I have another one that's been in here since the Hartley was completed, and it's doing great. We've got a Dracaena. I don't remember what variety this is, something like maybe lemon lime or something. I accidentally recently, I was trying to pop off a single leaf, and I popped off the entire top, like the whole rosette right there. I was so bummed at myself for doing that. That happens sometimes. You're just kind of going along and you're going a little fast. You're not really looking at what you're doing. But I saw a leaf that had like a brown tip, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna go take care of that, and then just pop the whole rosette off. So I faced that toward the back. This is a white wizard philodendron right here. I moved this one from the windowsill because I had to pop off a leaf that was filling in this section here that was getting some sunburn. You know, it was right here. I had it right by that Tradescantia right there. And it was just a little bit too much. So I popped that leaf off and moved it down here where it's gonna be a little bit more protected. And I think it'll do well. I have one of these inside the house, and I'm noticing in there, it's sort of offset from a south-facing window. So it's bright, but it gets a no direct sun, and the variegation in it is so vivid and so bright. And I'm thinking that maybe, you know, putting this in more like intense sun might wash it out a little bit, which that's kind of just what I'm experiencing anyway. So there's the other myrtle topiary, and then this is a Feeling Flirty Tradescantia right here. Beautiful lavender variegation and a very soft sagey green. So this one will start trailing over the sides of the pot. I do have another Tradescantia, like the classic variety in here, that I need to re-root. We're gonna do that together, but I'll show you that plant here in a moment. Right here, we've got the centerpiece that I watered this morning and got a bunch of water in the candle. Awesome. Irish moss. This is a perennial ground cover in our area, and it's doing beautifully in this container. I mean, it's starting to shoot out runners, and on the back side here, you can see more coming out the side of the pot, and it just looks so vibrant green and happy. This was a really fun one. I really enjoyed having this right here. Right down here, is this like a, I don't know, you guys, I should have prefaced this whole tour with my philosophy on houseplants, and that is, if you're coming here, you have to be able to survive it. If you don't survive it, then out you go, and I'll probably forget the name of what you are. You know, like this. I could never get wrap my brain around the differences. Is this like a mini monstera or something like that? Is it a philodendron, or is it a
Rapha something, I don't know. These were all cuttings. And that's the thing, like I may not remember what you are, but I can pretty much tell by your growth habit if I can cut you up and root you in a different container. And all of these were branches from a different plant that I had. I just cut them all, popped to make sure the nodes were down in the soil, and almost every single one of them took root. I mean, you can see individuals, like if you look down in here, here's one that I popped in the soil, there's another, here's another right here. And I'm just so thrilled with how it's done. It has shot out so many new leaves. It's interesting to me how they grow. Like some of them will look like this, some of them will look like this. Some of them, it just takes a little while for them to get their form. It's a really interesting plant, whatever it might be. The amaryllis table here, we've got a couple of Rolona amaryllis in bloom. This one's a little bit fresher right here. It's got kind of very like orange quality to it. I thought it was going to be more salmon in color, but I'm really enjoying them. These are Exotic Star right here. We've got 2 bloom stalks on this one going for it, and there are like 5 or 6 more getting ready. Look at this one right over here. Can you see that from your angle? There's a lot going on. A whole bunch more buds on these other. We've got some double reds right here. They're going to be gorgeous. And then there's some double whites in this container back here. This is another Rolona that's just a little bit further behind, and I'm wondering if that's just because it's closer to the window. Like these get a little bit more heat than this one right here. I don't know. In this corner, we've got the centerpiece that we put together a few months ago in a low bowl that I put a plug in the drain. So this is a non-draining container, and I talked through all of like how I take care of those sorts of things. We've got an asparagus fern here, 2 white cyclamen, which this one has kind of flushed out of bloom, but the leaves look really good still. Irish moss again, looking amazing. And it had a bunch of little white blooms. So sweet. So yeah, I'm really thankful that with how this one is done. Now the soil reservoir is so little in this one. I actually have to water it all the time. And I'm surprised about that. The fact that it doesn't drain. I wonder if maybe it being so close to the heater, it dries out, or just all the sun it gets. I don't know, but I'm in here watering it all the time. Same with the rosemary in the corner there. That one requires a ton of water to stay happy, but it looks happy, and I have harvested off of it a few times to cook with. These 4 down here are from the Proven Winners collection, the order that we received not long ago. Have not repotted any of these, so we'll just run through them quick. This is a ficus called Lily Pads. Isn't that cool? A little bit of damage on a few of the leaves. Just kind of monitoring it. It looked like that when we got it. So, I really looked over all of the plants whenever I bring in new ones. I always want to make sure that they didn't potentially come in with any kind of insect problem. There's no insects going on that I could see. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. This is a ficus called Roy. Very cool looking. Very broad, very long leaves. And kind of same with this one right here. This is a philodendron though, but look at these leaves. This one has a weird name, I think, that I can never remember. Yeah, Atabapoense. I have no idea. Can you see that? How do you say that? Ataba. That's what we should call it. Anyway, very cool looking leaves. And then this is another Ficus Anastasia right here, just a little bit of a bigger one. So I'm excited to get these in some real pretty pots. Now in this little grouping right here, I have a report that Aaron's probably going to be happy about. So do you remember the last shopping trip that we went on? Aaron and I picked up the Ring of Fire philodendron, and it was big and beautiful, and it had very interesting variegation. It had like pink, orange, and yellow and green all in the same leaf. Well, I got it home, I never watered it, and it just like fell apart. I noticed when we got it, it was pretty wet, like the soil was wet, that's why I didn't water it, and it just like rotted off right here. I'm not so sure Aaron wasn't sneaking out here giving it extra water.
I told you, it looked like it wanted to die.
Well, in this case, kind of was on its way out. So it's got like this little bitty piece that's still attached, and it doesn't appear like it's wanting to rot. I don't know, this little stem doesn't look so great. I don't know. I would never in a million years keep a plant that looked like this, except for this one was an expensive plant, and I cannot believe that it fell apart when I got it home. And we protected it. It was warm that day when we were shopping. They wrapped it in plastic. Like, I don't think philodendrons don't usually shock from moving them around. So it's just a weird thing that happens once in a while. Ugh. I'll have to go back and get another one, Erin.
Maybe you can get a refund.
No. No. Caramel Pluto philodendron right here. I love this plant so much. I loved it when we got the shipment in. This is a leaf joy right here. And it was probably one of my favorites from that load. There's just something about it. It's just a beautiful shape, just the way it is right now anyway. So full. The leaves are so interesting. I love the color. Like, look at this. On the new growth, it's kind of like that really soft mauve. It's hard not to shade stuff in here right now. The undersides of the leaves have a really pretty color, that caramely color. I just think it's a really interesting looking plant. It looks almost like bronzed, like it's got some bronze coming through. And we've got a fig right here. These were two of the ones I rooted from cutting up my other one, which, boy, that was years ago, wasn't it? That was like before Benjamin. When did I do that?
I think you were pregnant.
Was I pregnant?
I think so.
Anyway, yeah, it was an out of control fig tree in our house, and I needed to cut off the ends of it, and I rooted a bunch, and this is a couple of them. I actually had 3 in here, I think, and one of them didn't take, but 2 of them did. And then the other 2 were shorter, and I have those together in a pot in the studio. This one does have a little sunburn on it, but I actually noticed that earlier, like when it was really hot outside. So I haven't noticed any of it getting worse with the winter sun. I mean, it's really warm and bright, but I mean, the plant overall looks really happy and healthy. Right here we have our kumquat, which we recently moved in here, and it's looking really good, I think. It hasn't done any leaf drop. Yeah, it's just kind of holding right now. So I'm happy about that. I mean, citrus can be really fussy about where you move them around to, and I moved it from kind of a different environment. In the other greenhouse, it can tend to be more humid in there, and it wasn't getting quite as like intensive light. It was a little bit muted from the plastic. So I feel like it's a win just to get it in here and not have it leaf drop everywhere. Right here, we have a Pandora ficus. Little Prince sent this one out to us maybe a year or so ago, maybe a little longer than that. I don't think that this one's available on their website anymore, but it's a really interesting plant, and it's got new growth coming out. What are your thoughts on this one, Erin?
It's cool.
You like it?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you've got a curly leaf, it can look like an herbicide drift, you know, like an herbicide kind of drifted on it, and it's kind of like wanting to die. I've heard that a lot from people with plants like that. I think it's interesting and unique. I do have a regular ficus over on the other side that's just, you know, standard, so it's nice to have something a little bit different. Right here, this one is a philodendron, cannot remember the name, Florida green. And this one has really deeply lobed leaves. Huge, interesting, very red, like a deep brownish red, and kind of like Velcro-y on the stems. It's a really interesting one. This one needs a repot. See, it's still in its nursery container right there. This next shelving unit, this one also came from Gardener's Supply, and I don't know, again, if they have this one or not still. We've had it for 2 or 3 years. It's a corner shelving unit, and then a straight one, and then another corner one. And it's worked out really well in here. I love that it doesn't come all the way up to the bricks. I like that you can still see back there. The top row here, we have kind of a just collection of cactus and succulents. We've got a crazy bunny ears right here, which Benjamin, he loves to come in here and he tells me, or he asks me to tell him about this cactus, because I tell him how, like, if you touch that, you will regret it. Don't touch it. Because I swear those little spines, they sense your presence and they just shoot out at you if you get too close. Oh, we've got some astrophytums here. There's the dwarf butterfly agave. This is a ghost organ pipe right here, which is a little off color. I don't know, I've been watching it. It was a little bit more blue when we first got it. It's still rigid, so we'll see what happens. And then this one looks kind of weird. This is a gymnocalcium, something like that. Anyway, it was a little more vivid when we got it. It's still rigid. Again, these look pretty good. I don't know the names of all of these. I mean, we've got this one that's gonna be blooming here, Mammillaria senilis. Got some red blooms starting in. This one is a feather cactus right here, another Mammillaria. There's a Peperomia. I love this, astrophytum. I love the way that one looks. And then there's a stenocactus, a really cool looking, like waviness about it. These 3 right here, carrying on, we just repotted these. So we've got a Rhopsalis right here, and then this is a type of Euphorbia, and then we've got an Sansevieria right there. Okay, so top row here, we've got an aloe. There's 3 of them. I actually bought a unidentified gallon-sized can of aloe, oh my goodness, a long time ago. We separated these, I think, in one of our bedrooms in the townhouse when we tried to set it up as a studio space. I think that's when I separated these and potted these up. And honestly, some of them are getting so tall that I should do it again. This one's actually had some pups, beautiful little pups. We could behead this one and reroot it so that it sets further down in the pot. There's a string of hearts tucked down in here. He was looking kind of sad in the studio, so I brought it out here. It's actually perked up. I've trimmed it up, and we'll see what happens. Just kind of ignore it. And they usually like that kind of treatment. We've got a goldfish plant right here. Isn't that cool? Look at the shape of those blooms. They look like goldfish. And there are blooms all over on it. I don't know if I really want to lift it out of there. Everything's kind of like connected. Amaryllis from last year have leaves and no blooms. I did have one amaryllis from last year that I cut back and put under the grow lights in the studio, and that one's blooming on our kitchen counter right now. I did nothing special to it. It just worked out. So I was happy about that. We've got a little sedum right here. I don't have the name of that one. I think that one probably was sent to us by Mountain Crest in a shipment maybe a couple years ago. I just love that one. I think it's so pretty. We've got a ficus right here in kind of like a bonsai shape. A variegated string of pearls. Oh my gosh, this one gets water about every other day. That's something I've noticed about string of pearls. In order for us to get them to do well, I've got to water them quite a lot. Look at this though. Like, it's just amazing how much growth it's put on in here. I'm wondering, is it rooting in? It's probably going to try to root in here. This one is. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Just going to let them do it. This next one, I'm actually not sure what the name of that is. I knew it at one time, but it really loves it in here. And it's got a succulent type leaf. It looks really good from my angle here. And over on this side, you can really see, let's switch spots. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. What color is this? It's such a light sage green, just very soft. Right next to it, we have a philodendron. This is a Brantianum, I think. It's got the silver variegation. I need to get a pole or some kind of trellis for this one to climb on because it needs it. It's got a little clip here though. Let me see if I can clip it on. There, a little bit of stability there. I think that's really a beautiful variegated pattern though. Staghorn fern, this one is in here, like in this spot, even in the heat of summer. And it's just, like, it just goes for it. It's doing really great. And I mean, I rarely have to pull anything off of it. And we do pull the shades. So right up here, when the sun is a little bit further up in the sky, we pull those shades in the summer. So this side does get a little bit more protection. It doesn't get nailed with the, afternoon sun or anything like that. And I think that that's helpful because it gets with the heat in here and the intense sun, that could be too much for a lot of these things. Next to it, we have a Calathea called Pink Lady. And I gotta figure this one out. I mean, I think this one would look so much better if you were looking at it. Oh, no, that's connected, man. Those are all connected. If you were looking at it from down below, because over the top here, it's kind of like the Tradescantia. They get a little bit like weary looking, but the ends of them look so good. So I'm like always trying to fluff it so that you don't see the undersides, but this is just a little like 4-inch pot it's in, and it's grown so much. It's a really pretty color. Right next to that, we have a Rex begonia. It's done great. I mean, I think I almost need to repot it because it has grown so much. And it's got like new little plants that's popped over the side, like branches that are coming out. But I love the color of this one. I think that's so neat looking. Look at that single leaf right there. Really neat. Peperomia down below. I don't know the exact variety of that one, but it's doing real well. This pot is just falling apart. Look at this. Maybe time for a repot coming up here soon. This is one I need to pay some attention to. This is a Hoya curtisi, and I didn't realize that this pot was not draining. I came along not long ago and I thought, oh boy, that's not looking that great. And I stuck my finger down in there. Yeah, it's still wet. So I'm going to be pulling this one apart here soon, taking the healthy looking branches, we'll reroot those, and I'll either groom up or remove, you know, the ones with the kind of discolored leaves here, kind of a bummer. It's a really neat plant. This is a Hope Peperomia, a trailing type. I think they call it string of coins. Isn't that cool? It's clearly loving it. And you know it's a peperomia because of these right here. Those are peperomia blooms. There's no mistake in those right there. But super thick leaves. This one gets watered about once a week. Does really, really well in here. Next to it we have a bromeliad, which I don't even remember. I think that was sent to us. I don't remember what color of bloom it had or if it had a bloom, but it's been in here for a couple years at this point. So I'm wondering, can I take these off and repot them? We should figure that out, but it's overall a healthy looking plant. Same with the Sansevieria right here, doing really well. If you want something that looks sort of like agave-ish, but isn't an agave, this is a Sansevieria Jade Pagoda Hanai, is what it's called, and it's awesome. I love that. Next to it, I have a Pilea that's a little bit sad. So I tucked it in under here. Well, it has a chance to recuperate. A little piece of the sedum, though, has rooted itself, and maybe that's what we'll take over here someday. Next to that are Ribbons and Curls Wire Vine, also called a tapeworm plant. Ooh, I know, because of the way the stem looks. It's very flat like paper, segmented. It's just such a weird looking plant. When I saw it, I thought, yep, I gotta try it. Now I had this up on a windowsill and it was not digging it. I would come in here in the morning to check on things before we started running this, and it would be like, oh, I just got way too chilly up by the glass. So I moved it down here and it's getting heat and it's just loving its life right here. We have a Pink Princess Philodendron, which has grown since we planted it. It's doing well. I feel like I need to repot and seed it deeper in the container, but it's happy, so I'm not really knowing if I should mess with it. But it's got beautiful pink variegation right in here. Little Prince sent that one out to us. And then we've got a fern that I can't remember the variety of. And it's weird. I groomed it up the other day. These look good still. I should probably pop them off so it's uniform, but oh well. Okay, last plants I think are up here on this counter. We've got a couple of coral geraniums here that were in the chicken coop window box year before last. We dug them out and brought them in here, and they have done really well. I recently had to groom them up just a bit because they kind of went through the leaf drop like the other red ones did, but they're starting to bloom and stool out a little bit more. This is the philodendron that came with the leaf joy thing. It's kind of just dying. I don't know, putting a philodendron in water just doesn't, I don't know. Its leaves were a little bit damaged when it arrived, and I popped off one or two of them, and then they have systematically just perished. So I've got one little stem that's okay, I think. I've been changing the water out, so we'll see what happens there. This is a ficus called Belize. Beautiful, beautiful color. Look at that. It's so vibrant. I love that. I've got two succulents right here. This is a Haworthia. This is a white fox aloe. So pretty. We've got our head planter, which I've got just a random assortment of things in. There's string of pearls coming out the side. There's a Senecio, Echeveria. This is a Kalanchoe, I think, right? I don't know. I had a couple other things in here that I had to pull out because I did get some mealybugs and I didn't want them to spread to anything else. So I need to fill in, which some of these things that I picked up at the garden center, I'll be filling in with. This is a terrarium that we recently did, and I placed it here because it was in the shade when I placed it. I need to find a permanent shady spot for this because I don't want it to, the glass intensifies the light sometimes, and I don't want the plants to suffer. So it's really fun to have in here though. And then the myrtle that we looked at earlier, I made a wreath out of the rosemary that we cut from the Greenstock vertical garden in the greenhouse that one day. I have a wire wreath form, and I didn't even use any paddle wire. I just wove the branches in and out of the wreath form, and they stayed beautifully, so that's been kind of fun. Right here we have a couple of things. There's a little fern. The succulents here I picked up at the garden center. We've got more of the string of hearts. They're so pretty. Oh my goodness. I just love those so much. And then same thing with the bunny planter here. We had a bunch of semps in there, and the semps are really, sempervivums, they're hen and chicks, really prone to mealybugs. And I had mealybugs in there. So I just popped them all out because I wasn't gonna deal with that in here. And we'll put some other things in there that don't suffer from that quite as badly. We've got another ficus here. Can't remember, this is the Tineke. Ooh, got a leaf I need to take off right there. And that one is just a little bit more mild, a little bit more subdued in color than the last one we looked at, which was Belize, I think. This is a Schefflera right here, and it loves it in here. It's grown so much. I'm gonna have to put that one on the ground. When I moved it up here onto the counter, I think it was maybe like this tall, and it's just kind of taken off. This is the Tradescantia that we'll need to rework. See how the ends of the stems look so good, but up here they just get so weary looking, and so most of the time they would look better if you were looking at them from this angle and you weren't looking straight down in the top of the pot. Same with the Calathea down there. So this is a project we'll be working on together here really soon. And then the last two things, we've got a big cactus right there that I've had for most of Erin and my married life. So we've been married for 17 years. I think I've probably had it for 15. It just sits there looking awesome. And then there's our Grape Ivy right down there, which was the top centerpiece plant over here when I had the round plant stand in the center. I had that in the very top, and I might bring that back in, but I don't know. I just really wanted to get everything groomed and cleaned and kind of reset a bit before I decided what I wanted to bring in here from the other greenhouse. So anyway, that is what is in here for right now. And it's just such a fun place to come out to. And I have to say, like getting the Christmas tree out is it was beautiful to have it in here, but it's also so nice just to have nothing right here. I love when greenhouses look full, like full of life and full of things, but what I like more is being able to move around and not knocking into things or brushing against things, making me feel like I'm going to knock something over. So it's a fine line in here because we did want to be able to use this for like everyday life too, and we also filmed some videos out here. So I wanted to make sure to be able to navigate all the way around the table without brushing against stuff, which limits the size of plants that I can have in here. So I need to figure out like how to bring some elevation, you know, and get some things really high without them being hanging plants. I gotta figure that out because I don't really know if I want to hang stuff off of. I don't know. It's just an evolving thing, you know, and it's kind of subjective too to what plants you have in here and what's thriving and what's not. Because if something is, you know, bug ridden or whatever, I'll move it out of here, and that kind of changes how I organize things. But overall, it's just been such a fun experience. I love to come out here. So that's it, you guys. I'm sure we're going to be in here in the next week or two doing some more repotting videos, some Tradescantia rooting videos, because this is what it looks like outside. We're actually expecting more snow a day after tomorrow. I'm hearing like maybe another 5, 6, 7 inches, which would be fine. And then it's going to warm up after that. So if it's going to be cold though, I'm glad we have the snow. It's such a wonderful blanket of protection over everything. It makes everything look really clean and sparkly. I love that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.